Hello and welcome to the first demo scene interview thing at AssemblyTV. I'm Oki, your host, and I will first introduce, because I was alone this morning, my co-host slash also the other studio host, Cyphus.
Good afternoon, Oki.
Yes, Cyphus, there you are. Well, hello and welcome at AssemblyTV. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes, very good. First, well, some quick questions to you. So where you come from in the demo scene?
Ooh, most latterly from Uprof, Swedish Amiga group. Mostly music, Amiga music for those guys. Previously outings with the Bobby Davro Snooker Experience.
I've heard of them, very good group.
I'm glad you've heard of them.
Yes, I've heard of them.
We have a nice trophy case full of thumbs down from Hue, which
very well.
Keeps us
cozy
on cold winter nights. And occasionally doing stuff with other people, Evil Paul, with 8-bit, that kind of thing.
Nice.
But also an observer and party goer. Yes.
Very good.
But today I've come from the UK by canoe, and Air France have my luggage somewhere flying above us, and I'm quite keen to get it back. So if you work at Air France, if you know anybody who works at Air France, I could do with some clothes that aren't really a suit in 25-degree weather. But until then, I'm just going to sit here and sweat for you. How about that?
Very good. Well, we're still very happy you're here, and hopefully everything will be right. And
yeah.
Let me now then introduce our two guests that we have on the couch. We have sitting left from me Navis from ASD.
Yes.
Welcome, and Soledad from which group?
Explosive mainly.
Explosive, of course. Yeah. Excuse me for that. Welcome. You're both seminar speakers here at Assembly. So yeah, let's start with Navis. Very briefly, what are you going to talk about?
What I'm going to talk about, how we make demos in ASD. What are the difficulties in making demos these days, and some tips that I think can help people make better and faster demos. That's the key point, how to make things a bit faster. I suppose because our method of making demos is a bit unorthodox. Some people might find things I'm going to say a bit weird, but I think it's going to be quite interesting. I'm more interested actually myself in the questions and answer session.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I always find that there is somebody always there that has not a tricky, but a question that will get you into deep thinking.
Okay.
Something nice will come out of that.
So you hope for like interesting questions from the people.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, prepare. Look up Navis on the internet.
Yeah, stop thinking of stuff to really confuse them now. It'll be fun to watch.
All right. Well, interesting, very interesting, especially faster, because stuff is not fast enough. Demos are not fast enough. Or do you mean technically, like, or is it like speed-wise, as in?
Technically, we make demos that last quite a long time, and we take our time. We take months to make the big demos. But I'm not talking so much about that. It's technically how you can improve your efficiency.
Okay, so more efficient.
Sometimes I count in terms of lines of code per second of demo. So. You know, how
interesting measurement.
It's just a measurement. It's probably quite silly. It doesn't mean that much. But I've measured it myself in previous production, and I can see that we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I was thinking that you might be talking about how to speed up a demo.
No, it won't be that much
boring.
technical. Other people know how to do that better than me.
Okay, well, very interesting.
When is your seminar? Okay.
Where is it? I think Saturday, 7 o'clock.
Saturday.
All right.
Saturday.
7
I still have 2 days to write it, so that's...
You come well prepared for that. With all the knowledge inside your head. You just have to take it out. Very good. All right, and well, Soledad, what are you going to talk about?
I'm going to talk about how to use renoise in unexpected ways. Yeah.
Ooh, in unexpected ways.
Yeah, like instead of just composing with renoise, you can also use it to kind of sequence your demo, so that you don't make the musician suffer with synchronizing and asking him like at which time does the bass drum sound. So you just need to tell him, give me Renoise song and I'll do things with it.
Yeah, because you have all the patterns.
It's an efficient way. It's like him. It's like trying to optimize make things more productive.
Isn't that actually like how it also went in the old days when we were still using mods, that you always were timing on the pattern line?
Yeah. It's exactly the same, but you can still get like nice output because it's XML, so you can parse it.
Oh, of course, it's an XML format.
It's not binary, so you don't have to die in agony trying to parse it and things like that.
So you're going to introduce Renoise to people who maybe haven't used it before?
I expect people know what trackers are, but I'll probably just show something so that people can kind of understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To give it briefly, like a tracker is scripting music.
No, someone said that it was like an Excel music, like an Excel, shit, like it, but with music.
But then again, who doesn't know what a tracker is?
I hope people know that here.
You never know for sure.
Well, the thing about tracking is that people who get into tracking usually do so because they have a natural curiosity, and if you show them a cool way of doing something, even if they've never heard of Renoise before, they'll probably go and try it out, and it'll all make sense to them. Have you played with the new version of Renoise yet? The beta version?
Well,
what do you think?
I tried that. I tried the new scripting things, but my Lua skills are a bit like crusty. So I was trying to remember. I mean, I'm also doing stuff with Lua for a demonstration I want to bring. So I was like, it's a good moment to go through everything again. But yeah, it's very exciting. It looks very powerful, especially if you want to do scripts that automate things for your demo. So it's so you could, I don't know, maybe you could even write a script which generates stuff for your demo.
Yeah.
So everything from Renoise. So you don't have to. I don't know, if you're like one person doing the demo, it's very automatic.
That's quite interesting, because I've heard about things like that before, and that assumes that the music is being written at the same time as the visuals, or the music pre-exists.
Yes. But at least the good thing is with that is that it's flexible, and that's the thing. If you use Renoise and you use the source file, if you change something or the musician changes something, you can still update dynamically. It's not like when you have lots of points and you have to change everything. That's dying in pain and agony.
Do you see a distinction between a piece of, if not interactive, then a piece of live visuals and a demo? Do you make that distinction when you work?
We used to do kind of visual jockey stuff. So we kind of came from a background with that. So I'm very interested in that kind of thing. And that, how is that thing? Open sound control thing with Renoise. It's very interesting, but I haven't had time yet to.
Yeah, that looks very cool. But
yeah, the good thing is that you could even sequence your demo real time and then record it with another. It allows for lots of things, crazy things.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah.
Interesting stuff. Don't give too much away already, because then you're talking your seminar here.
No, you don't sit here and do the seminar.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that.
Okay. You said you have something done in Lua for a demonstration.
I did something.
Your seminar, for your seminar, you mean?
Yeah.
Or for the
small demonstration. Hopefully, it could grow into something for the competition. It all depends.
Do you think it's a good choice for a scripting language for Renoise?
Yeah, it's very fast. It's very easy to do things with it. It's very flexible as well.
Yeah, because I haven't used Lua before, and now I'm having to learn because I'm trying to write my own scripts slowly.
Yeah, but it's a very good. The nice thing is that it's very easy to embed it into whatever, and you can just extend it or tweak it and do whatever you want.
So you can put your own interpreter in your own.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting stuff. And when is your seminar?
I think it's on Saturdays, right? Maybe at 4 o'clock. It could be at 5. I can't really remember.
I'm going to come and ask you loads of questions.
We should have better prepared this as well. We could have actually looked it up before the interview. So it's going to be around 4 or 5, maybe on Saturday.
That way they can be hooked to the AssemblyTV
You have to come and check it out.
Yeah, you have to come early to get the best tips.
Will we get seminars on the AssemblyTV?
I actually don't know. I don't think they'll live broadcast it. I think they're recorded and put online.
Okay.
Anyway, they will be in the room all the time.
Okay. So you can look back later and see what you've done. But speaking about competitions, now that you guys are here, have you, Navis, are you working on something for Assembly? You can be as brief as you want.
Well, I've stopped working last night
Ooh.
so I'm not working on it anymore.
That can either mean that it's either done or you just gave up.
No, I haven't given up. It's done, and I've been working on it for quite a while. It's yeah, something that I think people are going to like. I think we got all the we learn a lot from, let's say, mistakes that we've made in the past with regards to demos presented at big parties, assembly or the gathering. And most important, I think this time we had fun. I had more fun writing this demo than I had writing other demos. The reason being that although this is it is a very big demo, it's a mega demo.
Is it more like a demo in the style of Life Force
Yeah.
than the 2D abstracted stuff you made?
Life Force, yes, definitely Life. But it was much easier to write this time than Life Force.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how did that happen, but
Because Life Force wasn't fun to make.
some parts were fun to make when you get the idea and you think, wow, this is going to look really nice.
Yeah.
But then when you actually have to do the non-fun bit, which is the practical, the programming.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a programmer. Programming is a necessity.
It's a tool.
It's just a tool. But this time programming was very easy, and I didn't have to stay up late. I didn't have to wake up early in the morning to finish it, and it was done by the whole demo was done before the beginning of Breakpoint. So it was done before April. So I had all this time just to think about it and just improve a little bit.
And it was done before Breakpoint, but you didn't want to enter it there, or you weren't there.
We didn't have any music. We didn't have any music. We had a bit of music, but actually we were quite well. Breakpoint this year, the competition was quite massive.
Of course,
the
that's
first
the last
two
Breakpoint
demos,
it was, yeah.
and the other one, which I can't remember the name, with the traveling and the hands clapping, the Einstein.
The We Are Einstein by
that was amazing too.
United Force, a fantastic crew. They make so fun demos.
Yeah, I thought it couldn't be it couldn't get any better, this competition. I think anything more, and it would just make it so hard for people to watch and say, oh no, another super demo and another super demo. I think it was a really good competition, and I hope it's something like that happens this year too.
Oh, okay.
What are the mechanics of deciding which party to release a big demo? I mean, do you start on something then decide to scale it up for a big party or scale it down for a small party, or do you?
I think I decided on the party very early.
Okay.
So I knew it was going to be assembly since maybe February.
Right.
But even if it was finished before Breakpoint, I wouldn't go to Breakpoint because, first of all, practically I couldn't be at Breakpoint.
Okay.
I had to be somewhere else. And second, because I think we really did need the time, these 4 or 5 months since then, to make the music and so on. There's no reason why you should press yourself that hard to just make it to the deadline of a particular party. So if we hadn't made the demo for assembly, I would be here, but I wouldn't have a demo.
So some people would use that time to agonize and go back over decisions they've made, but do you just, it's a linear process of adjusting till it's just right and then you leave it? Do you
it's completely linear. We never have any points where we regret the decisions made in the past, or we say, oh, now we can't go back, and it's a bit of a chaos. Really, it's just like a job. It's not a job actually, because there are jobs that are quite dangerous, like Air France people will get in your
when I get hold
suitcase.
of them, that's a dangerous job.
But there are some jobs that boring, and you know your objective. You just go there and you do the job and you go home, and that's exactly how this thing was. The fun part for me was making this script and designing the little things and the modeling. Programming wasn't all that fun. I learned quite a lot, but it helped to achieve something which at the moment I'm proud of it. So
you create a playground in which you can work, and then you just have fun.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk in my presentation. I want to talk about that the key element in making demos and having fun is to make that playground and yours, so that you can create things without having to think about the engineering so much and the programming, because these things some people finding fascinating, but it's not what will make a good demo.
Yeah, and it's got to happen. you know, sooner or later.
You have to make.
It's like getting a bus to a party. You'll get there, and then it's what you do there that determines whether or not you're going to have fun.
Yeah, you just have to get on with the job and don't think about it.
Yeah.
And because it's also a part where many scenes or many groups they try making a system and they stop because making a system is not that fun. It's in the end like the thing you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will stop people before they actually get to have fun. Before they actually
I
use
mean,
it.
my system is well, there isn't a system, and there is always a subsystem to do some loading, some stuff. But thinking back 3 years ago, the lines of code again, I'm going to mention lines of code that I had for this subsystem, and today it's less than half of this. Maybe it's like a third of these lines. It's so minimalistic. You could write it in one day from scratch, and then you have a playground to do all of your fun stuff, which is to make demos.
Make demos, yes.
But lots of other people will come and tell you, and there are very successful people will come and tell you that this is all wrong, and you should have a scripting system and all that. I'm not saying that one is better than the other.
Everybody has his own. Of course, you choose your preferred way in the end, how you want to do it, as long as you do it, I guess.
Yeah, the most demo thing actually you can do in your life probably is not listening to advice from people like me or others.
And then
so
do it yourself.
Don't go.
Do it yourself, like find out what you feel best. And Soledad, are you working on something for Assembly? Do you have something?
Yeah, I'm kind of. I just noticed when I was in the plane that I had forgotten to copy some of the code, so I'm just rewriting the part that actually exports from Renoise is the key part. So I'm kind of rewriting that between apps because we haven't slept too much. It's 2 hours difference.
Ooh.
From the UK to here, so I'm kind of zombie.
Very.
So yeah.
Do you, your music must develop in parallel with the visuals more than most people?
I always have the music first. I can't understand how he does it. It's completely something that mystifies me.
It's the talent of the musicians.
But it's beautiful as well that everybody has his way. Like you can do it without music. You have to have music. It's with the difference that makes it like your own piece, basically.
Yes.
Your own way of working.
Yeah, I think we are quite inspired by music. It's, I was talking about our background is that we kind of started as a VJ group instead of demos. Well, it was kind of a demosing group, but which wanted to create or experiment in new things.
Yeah.
So we started, well, mostly it was Trace and Mac. They started their own VJ tool, and from that, I think I have inherited that creative music first and then add some visuals to that.
So Navis is saying that he typically won't revisit ideas or decisions that have already been made. Are you likely to go back to music once things are in full swing? Will you go back and make adjustments? Would you ever think, oh, that seemed like such a good idea at the time, but now it's whack?
Usually I kind of have layers, so I can move them around.
Right, okay.
But the music usually kind of stays once it's done, because it's good enough.
Yeah.
Or it fits with an idea or something.
Yeah.
Or it's random enough to inspire random stuff to show on the screen.
Very interesting. And I have actually one question for Navis that I always wanted to ask you, and I think I might actually have asked it once. But because ASD is quite different, you have different kind of demos you make. As you say, like the bigger demos and the more experimental demos. And which is for you more fun to do in your playground? It's like, do you like the experimental part?
It's the experimental. I think it's more fun for me. One of the reasons is that the experimental demos actually take a lot less time to make. So some of them just take hours. But to get the idea, whether this idea is successful or not, that's another story. But sometimes I have lots of ideas. Some ideas I think that could make into a good demo. So this feeling of I have a good idea and I can make that into a demo. So tomorrow there's going to be something that didn't exist today. It's going to be a new demo. It's quite fascinating. With the bigger demos, it's a process that takes months. So I toil over the scripts again, and eventually get the different path. There are some very nice moments there too, because I think all of our big demos have some experimental parts in themselves. Anyway, so the big demos just take a lot of time and a lot of energy, and at our age, it's not something, you know, I'm not a full-time demo maker, I'm not even a part-time demo maker at the moment, so they are hard. I have some ideas for future demos, so time will tell.
Okay. Cool. Very good. I'm actually quite questioned out at this point. Do you
Yeah.
have anything to?
Well, if you
ask?
give me carte blanche to keep asking questions, I'll just ask some questions for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Now, as to a demo that you decided will be a big demo, is what you're saying that just more of these cumulative ideas can just go in there? Does it just suck up every idea you have for a longer period of time? Or do you find you have to throw things out that are just going to ruin the flow?
I'm quite careful with what I throw in these days, at least, because I know that that too much is too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think we went through a phase about five years ago where if we could put another layer of effects, we would cram it in and so on and so on. But it wasn't just our fault. I think that was the scene back then. Things have changed and things have moved quite a lot. I think these days I'm more likely to think of a mode of presentation, a rendering mode, or an artistic concept, and then just make something based on that and just that.
Yeah.
And not fuse two different things together that don't belong.
Yeah.
Of course, when you have something that lasts over 8 minutes, have an 8-minute demo, it's very hard to keep the attention of the audience if you don't play around with styles.
Mm-hmm.
But and I think that's the secret of a good demo, is that you have to know to be very careful and to know where to stop while you're extending your style.
Yeah.
If you extend too much, then a lot of people will spot and will say, this is a demo that just doesn't hold.
There's nothing
water.
coherent and
it's not
recognizable.
coherent,
Yeah.
yes. But if it's all the same, then they say it's a flyover and nothing happens really.
Yeah.
So I think it's this balance you have to play with, and it's a very important step in demo making. But that's what we do. Again, there are lots of other people who like completely different things and will not even think about stories or a canon or anything that can be associated with the universe of your own demo group and your demology, and that's fair enough, and they can be very successful too.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that the most successful groups have even demos that are that are different, that have been made by them.
Mm-hmm.
They have some common element. If you search, if you look deep, like for example, I have the feeling, I might be wrong, but the MFX are space operas, for example.
Yeah.
While with the Fairlight, they have something more streetwise, or at least up to a point recently.
Yeah. Definitely the MFX, that was a thematic element that bound, I guess, a couple of years of work together quite well. And
sometimes it's quite strange, but it works in countries too. So what I've noticed, for example, Polish demos, they seem to be very similar in terms of there's a lot of modeling, a lot of static or dynamic scenes with realism, while from other countries, maybe from other Eastern European countries like Yugoslavian countries, I've seen demos that are very avant-garde and very, very difficult for the average viewer.
And
like
these distinctions maybe parallel with cinematic distinctions across communities and cultures, because I mean, your ASD demos seem to show the kind of restraint that you associate with, with cinema, not mainstream cinema, kind of a particular art house cinema where a consistent vision is applied. That doesn't necessarily mean that the same motifs are popping up, but it does mean that, like you said, the same kind of restraint. Let's not cram everything into one scene. Let's just keep a single focus through. That will change, but will never distract the viewer.
If we had this discussion a day after the demo combo, I would have told you more about this. Probably our viewers are.
We can maybe do it after the demo combo.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are not that interested in that, because I might be talking completely nonsense.
That's the thing. I don't think you really can talk. It's no nonsense. Nothing is nonsense.
Nothing is nonsense. But it just, you see, we have demos for. I've been watching demos now 18 years. I've been making, and it's all fine. And you have effects and everything. But there is a point when I think that you can do. You can do more. You can say a lot more about what demos are. And you can look at the history. You can look at the evolution of the storytelling in demos and the effects. So there's just so much more to say in demos.
Do you think that they need that more as well? Because in the past, demos were like effect shows to show what the computer could do, and now we can do everything basically. The power is.
I can't say anything. I can't say that we need it or not. I'm not the person. As I said,
but in your opinion, I mean.
Okay, my opinion is. My opinion is always these things, do whatever you want, but for my group, yes. The answer is, I think for us the way forward is to concentrate a bit more, well, fixing our mistakes, technical mistakes, but on top of that, generate more worlds, generate more universes that express us. Like you would do if you were writing a song or a movie. So it's not just about effects. I don't care to show that I can do millions and millions of voxels.
That's the thing, basically, because it used to be like, look at how many bobs I can put on the screen, and now it's more like I have a story to tell, or if I have an idea to show.
I want to make people think.
Yeah, the thing
is, to finish and say, let's watch it again, because maybe there is something, maybe there isn't. I don't know. But making people think, and especially in a competition where you have 15 or more entries
people have
and
to
a
watch
lot of them look the same, and it's quite late and people are tired. You want to captivate.
You have to grab them.
To grab them and say, there is something going on here.
And all that requires a very kind of firm directorial control, which is what demos are known for. You know, a lot of people who are new to the demo scene talk about, you know, they say, well, I can't use the joystick, what's happening, I can't move it, I can't interact with it, and that hasn't traditionally been the point of the demo scene. But I mean, you're working with an environment which could facilitate that kind of interactivity. Yeah. But often what I've noticed is that VJ tools, the effort's put into the tool, the effort's put into the visuals, and then it's thrown open to whatever music somebody else wants to supply. But because you're starting with the music, you're retaining almost as much control as any other demo maker would over what's experienced at the end. Is there a temptation to open it up to interactivity so that people can...
Totally, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even for sequencing, I'm always thinking, like, if this could be interactive, it could be easier to experiment with new things instead of programming
as a tool
stuff.
And then as a means of...
I really want to have some time to test the renoise thing, so because I think there used to be, in all demos, there used to be kind of an interactive mode, so you could play with stuff. I mean, I think that's the way forward with a keyboard and then just record events or something.
Yeah, and it was always a really nice
see how
surprise.
It looks. It's very immediate. You don't have to recompile and things like that.
Yeah, there's a Grasshopper design Amiga demo from years ago, Magical Box, where the whole thing stops until you realize that especially if you're playing it in a hall to people, somebody has to run up and tap the button until it starts to wind this music box up and the jack pops. So it's a lovely treat. It's a lovely surprise, but it was never the norm. So how do you kind of get people used to that in the demo scene, or do you not care?
The problem is that people in the demo scene don't want to have things interactive because they can't just press play and watch it. Yeah. But then people from outside the demo scene don't get the point because they say, what? Do I need to be stopped like that for 5 minutes? I mean, I was talking to, like, he was in Spain past week or the other week. And we had like a small meeting with non-sceners, and they talk like the things that we don't get the point of having to be watching something for 5-10 minutes and not being able to do anything. I mean, and he said like, if the demo scene was more interactive, maybe more new people could get into that because it's what we're used to. I mean, usually when you get to a page with a flash animation, you just skip intro, and it's the same with the demo scene. You don't want to watch things for 5 minutes. You want to play with it for 5 minutes.
Maybe it's even more of a cultural difference than it used to be, because I mean, it used to be that people were used to watching music videos, and they got used to watching demos. And I don't know if people watch music videos anymore. Do you watch music videos anymore?
Well, yeah, that changed. It went to the internet more than on television. Yeah. Because now Vivo and YouTube take it over, but people still want to have visuals with the song.
But do you think they capture your attention as much, especially if you have a few monitors and you think, oh, somebody sent you a YouTube link, you put it up there while you're doing something else?
Yeah, but it's more on demand. But because I think as well in the demo scene, like interactivity is questioned always. There are a few demos that do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it's never part of the scene, and because that doesn't mean it shouldn't be, basically.
Yeah.
But there's discussions, and the demo scene is always about people really go like, it's like this, and try to define it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you should basically open it, and if a party allows it, they think you can have interactivity in your demo, then sure, do it.
Yeah.
Experiment with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Because it's whether it's a question of what users want, and that's when you start thinking about people who watch demos as consumers, and
Yeah.
that's not really, that's a bit weird.
Inspiring. Yeah.
Or whether you're thinking, well, am I making a demo? Am I afraid to give up control over the scene? You know,
because it can be. It's a choice. If you have something, as you say, you make something really specifically telling a story with a certain thing you want to give. You don't want that to be interactive. If people go la la la, look around to see.
I don't think I would ever want to make an interactive.
No, so it's
so you wouldn't want
you
to
make.
a joystick control the life force so the hand goes up and down.
Never.
No.
Well, maybe it just goes out of the stage and there's the hidden vertices and
Well,
things like that.
Okay, if you were
Because
to put the
everything's
camera
trick.
somewhere else, like in most demos, you would see things popping in, out,
Yeah.
Yeah,
in,
that's
out.
the thing. Like
It's-
you sometimes don't render parts because they're outside of your box or whatever.
yeah,
the thing you do, you
it's
have
all
a
it's big cheats.
Yeah,
Exactly,
so
That's what I
That's
like.
right, that's
I
right.
like to be able to know that it's a
Yeah,
cheat,
exactly. So
but nobody else
it's two
does.
things, and they're both for me like they're both correct. Like either you want to do something.
Well, I'll
controlled
tell
or
you
not.
something else about interactivity. I have a thing about it because I've just did myself. We can watch a demo as a real-time executable or on YouTube, and lots of people actually watch them, even new demos on YouTube.
Yeah.
On
It's easier.
YouTube, it's easy. Yeah. On YouTube, you have actually some more interactivity than you have on the executable.
Yeah, you can scroll back.
You can scroll back and forth.
Fast forward.
Yeah, and I think on one hand it's nice that we are able to do so, because I watch all the demos that come out there, and some of them are a bit tedious and they take.
You skip
too long.
ahead.
You skip ahead. That's not good, is it? Though we can't say what is and what is not.
Well,
you know,
of course you can always have the discussion. Like, but I think it's true that it's like you will very easily, very quickly go like, let's see what goes on, and you don't give the demo a
the
chance.
attention span of people nowadays, of people that watch demos at our age and so on, is actually going down, I think. So here it is. My theory is that if you show somebody a demo, the average demo now is maybe 4 minutes, 3.5, 4 minutes, and they get bored by the end, then you probably have made an average demo, because people on average get bored after 4 minutes. But if you manage to make a demo that is 4 minutes or longer, and they felt like it lasted 2 minutes, then you are onto something. So I think this is it's a measure of relative success of a demo, that it can capture you for 3 minutes. It comes today, maybe in 10 years it's going to be 30 seconds. You know.
Maybe that's. And I think that we lose attention quicker. That you go watch them and like, oh, skip. It's true, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I've seen
it's
as
a
well.
sign of something it is successful in some aspects, that can capture the eyes of the viewer for longer.
And then you kind of succeeded as well to keep attention for.
Yeah,
longer
well,
than
how do
something.
you do it? It's a different story. It takes
Yeah,
lifetime.
that's what we try. Like people make demos to now, and that's what I meant with like the technical part is what you do is like much more technical ended as well, because the interactivity and the whole scripting part. But we don't do it as a tour de force anymore. Like show what my computer can do, because computers can do anything at this point.
Yeah.
So that's less important in a demo than actually I have an idea that I want to show.
Well,
Whatever it
computers
may be.
can do everything if you have the resources to do it. So, for example, if you have you work in a games company, let's say, and there are 30 programmers working for 2 or 3 years, yeah, they can replicate this world. It's going to look. But with the demos, the question is whether you, 1 or 2 programmers working for 1 or 2 months, can do something clever and cheat, let's say, so that you get the attention from the viewer, the same attention that they would get from, let's say, watching Need for Speed or something
Like
like
a
this.
professional.
Yeah, from something professional.
fair enough.
Because I suppose in Need for Speed you drive a car, okay, and it's in a world, but in your demo you could be doing something that is completely surreal, both of them will capture the imagination of the viewer in a on a different level. That's why I think realism in demos nowadays is probably the wrong way to do it. Probably.
People will also question. Will also have. People will always disagree about those kind of things. Like, should be mostly as realistically as possible, or should go back to more.
Well, you can't compete with the best, and the best right now is unfortunately the big groups that make the games. If you are going to compete on the realism level, because we'll have viewers at the assembly. I guess at least half of them haven't seen demos before, and the first thing they're going to compare against is games.
Yeah, the game with a 2-year dev cycle and a motion capture studio and all that.
Yeah, we can't play on that level.
But do you think, I mean, if you make a really amazing 64K and you know it's going to be distributed on video, would you, given that a certain element of making demos is showing off your skills, would you want to always tell people that it was done in just 64K? Would you have to sit them down and make them care? I mean, or they look at something else that was rendered in a render farm over weeks and weeks and weeks, and they think, oh well, that's better because it's just what they see. I mean, do you think the demo scene will always have that? It kind of looks like a crutch almost. That explanation.
Well, if you have a look at the best 60, I haven't done 64 or 4K, but other people who have been very successful, like Smash or EQ. People even watching it on the YouTube know that this is a 4K, this is 64K, so it's common knowledge. People who are outside the scene aren't daft. They know, they can get on YouTube. They know what maybe not all of them, but they know what 4 kilobytes are and how little space it is, and 64K and so on. So even outside Scene.org and Poet, the people who watch our demos, the small intros, I think they will appreciate eventually the effort. Of course, there is always the people inside the scene and inside the Poet who will appreciate a lot more. And I guess the creators would make these intros for both categories of people. So if I had the skills to make a 4 and a 64K, I wouldn't be so worried about that. I would just go and do it.
So is there a point, do you think, in the future where a certain skill amongst demo sceners reaches a ubiquity whereby it can rely just on the artistic visual impact or auditory impact? So you don't even have to tell somebody that it's a 64K, it's just so good that it will capture people outside of the scene? Or do you think that's not what demos are for?
I think it's getting there.
Right.
I think with time it's getting there. I really would like to go in the future and see what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. But my feeling is that's where everything goes towards a kind of unified approach to making demos.
Cool. All right.
Well, you're gonna have to build a time machine now.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting question to see where it will go. You will never know. Until we're
the big question, of course, is always what's going to happen next year with the spring party.
Yeah. Are we all going to turn up in Germany and stand there looking silly, or is somebody going to have a party waiting for us, or what?
Yeah, there are parties coming, parties going.
Yeah, so it changes indeed, and the dynamicness is, I think it makes it good as well.
But to all the people who don't know about this, it has been said many times that this is going to be the year is going to ruin the demo scene for whatever reason, and it has never been so far.
Yeah, people keep saying it never happens. It always finds a way. So
sometimes I think it's only because of the efforts of maybe 5-10 groups that really put in something, and they've, like we said before about Breakpoint, it was a really good combo, and it was made much better because of these first 5 demos that came in the top 5 in the combo. But there are so many other, let's say, workers around that will do all the music and all the lesser demos, and they're learning, and then one day they'll get better. The only thing that worries me, to tell you the truth, is that we're getting a little bit old, and I'm over 30 now, and there were people who were doing the stuff that I do now in the early 90s who were 18, 19.
Yeah, so
where
who
did
will take over?
these guys go?
Yeah, that's so we should like say to the people, join the demo scene. If you're young, we need you. Eventually, we will need you because Nevis cannot do it forever.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose by joining us. You have all to.
If all to gain.
To gain.
He's even doing seminars to train his successors.
Yes.
How about that?
So yes, I think
come to Assembly every year for a few years. You'll know how to do it.
See it. Yeah, listen, learn from the people. Go to the seminars. So yes, your seminar was on Saturday.
Saturday 7 o'clock.
At 7, and yours was at Saturday at 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
So just be there on time.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank you very much for your time and for your information.
Yeah, thank you.
Very interesting. And Brandon, thank you for your first cooperation.
Thank you, okay.
And that was our first interview. So check out the seminars on Saturday. They will be worth it. And thank you very much for watching. This was AssemblyTV.